Cubism is a style of art that stresses abstract structure at the expense of other pictorial elements, especially by displaying several aspects of the same object simultaneously and by fragmenting the form of other depicted objects. Most people did not like or understand Cubist works. When they first appeared, the name Cubism was meant to be insulting and came about because of the angular, square look of many Cubist paintings. The Cubist painters were also influenced by Native American and African art. Their works often featured cubes, cones, spheres, and cylinders, and sometimes used collage techniques. The movement largely ignored perspective and tried to show objects or people in several different angles. Cubism was the first abstract art style. It began in 1907, was very popular during the early part of the 20th century, and had its origins in France and Spain. Organic shapes were distilled into geometric angular patterns of color cubes. Cubism became established in France and was the dominant art movement for many years. Cubism is a kind of realism. It is a conceptual approach to realism in art, which aims to depict the world as it is and not as it seems. The Surrealist movement came along and gradually replaced Cubism. Pablo Picasso, the primary founder of Cubism, together with Braque, Picasso explored a number of different styles of art throughout his career. Some say that he produced enough innovative and unique art for 5 or 6 different famous artists. Picasso is considered one of the greatest influential artists of the 20th century. He was a painter, sculptor, printmaker, ceramist, and stage designer. George Braque. Braque is one of the founding fathers of Cubism along with Picasso. He continued to explore Cubism for much of his art career. Juan Gris. Gris was a Spanish artist who became involved in Cubism early on. He was also a leader in developing the synthetic Cubism movement. In 1906, Juan Gris moved to Paris and became friends with Henri Matisse, George Braque, and Pablo Picasso. In Paris, Gris followed the lead of Pablo Picasso. He submitted darkly humorous illustrations to journals and newspapers. There are 4 periods of Cubism. Early Cubism from 1908 to 1910, Analytic Cubism from 1910 to 1912, Synthetic Cubism from 1912 to 1914, and Late Cubism from 1915 to present day. There were 2 main stages of Cubism, known as Analytic Cubism and Synthetic Cubism. The first stage of the Cubism movement was called Analytical Cubism. In this style, artists would study or analyze the subject and break it up into different blocks. They would look at the blocks from different angles, then they would reconstruct the subject, painting the blocks from various viewpoints. The second stage of Cubism was Synthetic Cubism. It introduced the idea of adding other materials in a collage. Artists would use color paper, newspapers, or other materials to represent different blocks of the subject. This stage also introduced brighter colors and a lighter mood to the art. Popular subjects for Cubism included musical instruments, people, bottles, glasses, and playing cards. There are very few Cubist landscapes. Picasso and Braque did not think Cubism should be abstract, but other artists such as Robert Delaunay created more abstract work. In this way, Cubism eventually helped to spawn the abstract art movement. The most extreme forms of Cubism were not those practiced by Picasso and Braque, who resisted total abstraction. The first public controversy generated by Cubism resulted from salon showings at the Independence during the spring of 1911. The term Cubism did not come into general usage until 1911. The most innovative period of Cubism was before 1914. By 1919, pre-war sense of the Cubist movement had been virtually shattered. During 1913 and 1914, Cubism had a widespread influence all over Europe and even in New York, where small Cubist exhibits were held, but all that came to an end when World War I erupted in Europe. Braque and several other artists were called to arms to defend their countries. Many historians mark this as the end of Cubism, but others believe that it extended into the 1920s by Picasso, who did not go to war. After World War I, Cubism returned as a central issue for artists and continued as such until the mid-1920s, when its avant-garde status was rendered questionable by the emergence of geometric abstraction and surrealism in Paris. One of the best known and most controversial Cubist painting is Guernica by Picasso. This painting shows the horrors of war and measures 8 meters wide and 3.5 meters high. The Guernica painting shows the tragedy of war and suffering it inflicts on individuals, particularly innocent civilians. This work has gained monumental status, becoming a perpetual reminder of the tragedies of war, an anti-war symbol, and an embodiment of peace. Upon creation, Guernica was displayed around the world in a brief tour, becoming famous and widely acclaimed. This tour helped bring the Spanish Civil War to the world's attention. Cubism can be found in many parts of our culture today, like architecture, interior design, and fashion. Thank you for watching my video on Cubism. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I did making it. I hope you understand Cubism better than you did before. Please enjoy the pictures and music for the remainder of the video. Have a nice day.
No way out. No way out.